First of all, thank you all for coming today. We're going to make this very brief. Okay. We're going to make this very brief so that way we can move on. Basically, we're here to address the lawsuit against the city of Mount Vernon by the U.S. Attorney. So this lawsuit, there are a lot of information and distorted information being dispersed, and at this time we want to make sure that we can address those issues and address all of the taxpayers and the citizens of Mount Vernon to let them know that they are not in danger of this particular lawsuit, and we are working hard to make sure that we address all of these situations. Today I'm standing here with the council members as well, Councilwoman Delia Farquharson, Councilwoman Janice Duarte, Councilman Marcus Griffith, and our new attorney, Richard St. Paul, along with Deputy Clerk Lauren Carter. And I would like to let everybody also, Clerk Brown is standing over there, he'll be back over here, and Councilwoman Lisa Copeland happens to be out of town at this particular time. So at this time, we're going to have our attorney come up, speak, and address some of this situation here, and then after we'll take a few questions from there and answer your questions. Thank you. Right now, here is Richard St. Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning, Richard St. Paul, the St. Paul law firm, S-T-P-A-U-L, spelling of my last name. On June 28th, 2018, the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation sued the city of Mount Vernon for alleged violations of the Clean Water Act. Those alleged violations include allowing certain pollutants to contaminate the Bronx River and the Hutchison River. Included in some of those violations were the failure to report annually about the progress to resolve the issues of alleged pollutants entering into the water system. What I'd like to make clear is a few things. First, this lawsuit could have been avoided. And this lawsuit can simply been avoided if the executive branch of this city reported to the EPA on its progress to deal with environmental contamination of the water bodies surrounding Mount Vernon. The executive branch of the office, the mayor's office, has missed 2 reporting deadlines with the EPA. Those deadlines in which the mayor's office did not report the progress that the council was making in passing legislation to address these issues, I believe led to this lawsuit. And let me tell you the impact of this lawsuit. The impact of this lawsuit is significant. The EPA has asked the federal judge in the Southern District of New York to charge the city of Mount Vernon $37,000 each day they allegedly violate the Clean Water Act. It is a shame. That is crippling. That is crippling to the city of Mount Vernon. All this information is documented in the complaint. That's complaint number 5845, Civil 2018, which is filed in the Southern District of New York. I just want to say I want to make another point. The City Council is a legislative body. As such, they pass legislation. The City Council does not inspect pipes. The City Council does not come up with the execution of a plan to deal with pollutants entering into the stream. They simply are a mechanism to provide the executive branch, the mayor's office, with the ability to execute a plan that needs to be submitted to the City Council. That plan, which includes stormwater management, a plan to equipment, and a plan to deal with pollutants entering into the city, a plan to inspect the over 10,000 sewer lines in the city. That plan must come from the mayor's office so that the city council can do their job and pass the necessary legislation and fund the necessary equipment and project for the violations that the city has been accused of violating. The city council is ready, willing, and able to work with the mayor's office. It is our hope, that the mayor's office will cooperate with the city council and present a plan.
That is Richard Thomas's sister.
Okay.
Officer?
That is Richard Thomas's sister.
That's okay.
There's a commission.
The last point I want to make is that some people may have questions as to why does the city council have to hire their own special counsel to deal with this issue? The answer is very simple. If the mayor, which he has shown he's not willing to cooperate with the city council, if he's not cooperating with the city council to deal with this issue, the city council cannot afford the penalties levied against the city of Mount Vernon. The city council must protect the citizens of Mount Vernon if no one else will. And so the mayor's interest and the city council's interest for the people are not aligned. And that's why the city council had to hire their own special counsel. So when the time comes, we can present to the federal judge that the city council is ready, willing, and able to work to resolve this issue for the people of Mount Vernon, to ensure that they won't be financially crippled, to ensure that pollutants aren't entering into the water stream, that we are ready. But only one person stands in our way of progress. And we already present that information to the judge. And maybe one day, the judge will order the mayor to do his job. Thank you.
Questions?
If there's any questions, we'll be taking a few questions at this time, please.
So first things first, I was under the impression that these missed deadlines were in 2008, and the mayor didn't come into office until 2016. So are you blaming all of it on the mayor, or what happened in those 8 years with the deadlines?
Basically, we're not blaming the mayor for what the prior administration has done. So we would never do that because the mayor was not the mayor until 2016. But we are wondering why, with this on the table, he has not addressed 2016 or 2017, which is part of it. The problem goes back. We understand that. But we want the mayor to focus on doing his job, okay, taking responsibility and stop pointing the fingers at others. So we can't continue to point at the prior administration because they're no longer here. What we need to do is focus on the problem at hand right now and work on a solution to solve it, and the council have been ready, willing, and able to do that for the last 2 years. We've passed the legislation, we've given legislation, he hired extra sewer workers, we gave him the trucks, brand new trucks, over $500,000 worth. We fixed the prior equipment for him to do the job. The council is just baffled. Why hasn't the mayor submitted those reports, and why haven't the mayor done his job? We've done our job. That's all we're saying.
How often has it happened that the mayor requested a meeting with the council? That meeting this council did not meet with them to work out the problems that are happening. So with them about 3 weeks ago, that she said that she had not received any requests. We have documentation that those requests were made to meet with the council. Do you still stand by the chance that no requests were made?
The mayor has made requests, and I believe in the last week, not prior to that. So prior to the DOJ meeting that we had, what was that? Prior to the DOJ meeting that we had, the mayor had not made any requests to address this issue. After we returned from that meeting, he did make some requests, but there were conflicts with the schedules. So, but that's 1 or 2 requests that he made in a 1 week time period.
And Just to add to the record.
It's a scheduling issue. The comptroller was not able to meet during the requested times, and we couldn't get all of the council members available at the requested times. So I believe that there is an intent to follow up, to reschedule, but it's a matter of coordinating schedules.
So did the council get other pressing issues that are more important than this financial crisis that's going on?
Well, let me address this real quick, okay? This has been going on. This is a ongoing issue, okay? It's not even about the second meeting. We've met with the same people downtown in Manhattan a year ago. The mayor said in that meeting with the minutes that he would address the situation and have a report within a few weeks to give to the EPA, I'm sorry, and that has not happened. So this is an initial second meeting that I did not make, but Councilwoman Duarte and Councilman Griffin has made. But it's the same thing. They're requesting the same thing that they did a year ago. So the second meeting and the mayor not getting that scheduled within the last week, which he just did, he had, since last year, since we've been asking him to present a report, or where is he at with the report, it has not been done. So just now coming in the week does not neglect the whole year and change that we've been waiting for a report.
Can I just be clear that past administrations have filed their reports? The EPA and the DEC noted in their complaint that, albeit their reports were filed late, they did file and comply with the filing of the reports. What we're concerned is as to why currently this administration has missed 2 filing deadlines to file those annual reports.
Thank you. There is no staffing level. The mayor and DPW requested 8 new sewer workers. We gave them 8 new sewer workers. Now you're saying you're understaffed. So that's not an issue, okay? I'm going to have the attorney speak to that, but it was all fun.
So, to the first point of your question about this lawsuit being avoided, there are annual reports that the executive branch has to file. As you heard previously, those reports haven't been filed within 2 years. The specifics of those reports contain information as to the progress of the city in its implementation plan to deal with pollutants entering into the water. Now imagine 2 years of not letting the United States Environmental Protection Agency know what you're doing to combat pollutants entering the water. That's 2 years of silence. The U.S. government, the federal government, basically said we had no choice but to sue Mount Vernon to come into compliance. If those reports would have been provided showing that there is progress, as was outlined, that eight DPW workers were provided, equipment was provided, funding was provided. If that stuff was in the particular reports that were supposed to be filed by the mayor's office, we likely could have avoided this lawsuit.
So what can we do now? What can we do now?
Sure.
What happened before can we learn about it? But today, what can be done to avoid the city of Mount Vernon
You want to talk?
going into a financial crisis?
Sure.
So I think it needs to be clear that what needs to be done now is DPW has the direct responsibility of examining our sewers, of creating our plans, of making sure that those plans are adequate to the needs of the DEC, the DOJ, and the EPA, and ensure that those plans are submitted. The council does not have direct responsibility for creating that. The only agency in this city that has that responsibility is DPW. So therefore, DPW, with the 8 new employees that were provided by the previous council, must, and using those new trucks that were bought, start to create the plan, present the reports that are outstanding, because they are the only agency in this city that has that responsibility. and they work directly for the mayor. So it must be understood that there's no immediate thing that the council can do. And the lawsuit doesn't solve the problem. The lawsuit, even with the lawsuit, we still have leaky sewers, right? So it doesn't solve the problem. If we buy more equipment and they are not being used efficiently, we still have the problem. So what needs to happen is that an efficient plan, a comprehensive plan, needs to be developed by the DPW and submitted. It's already funded. Those people are already in the budget. It's already funded. So there's no additional funding. The mayor's making the argument that it's not adequate. But what we say is this, that hardly any municipality in this state has adequate funding to address the sewer issues. We are not the only municipality that has this issue. So what needs to happen is we create a plan that reflects the resources that we have. So if the plan is for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, a comprehensive plan that will be followed carefully and thoughtfully, that will show that Mount Vernon is making strides to addressing the issue that's outstanding with our sewers.
Thank you.
So the mayor at press conference this time last week, whatever, gave us a plan, told us to press a plan. Have you heard that plan? Are we going to go with that plan?
That is not a plan that he gave. A drawn out plan is what the EPA is looking for. They want to know how much sewers will be done by how long, okay, over the course of time. And how much, yes, but he has not submitted a plan. It's not on paper. You can make fancy drawings about sewer leaky situations, but you have to put a plan and submit the plan. So until the mayor comes up with a plan, as Councilwoman Farquharson has said, DPW has to do their job. They have to lay out that plan. They have to put it all together. They have to submit it to the DOJ as well as the council and the controller, so we're all on board and all in the same place. Thank you. Ty? Yes. Yes, we're going with the press at this time. Yes. Yes. Okay, yes, sir. Right.
So the solution, as my brother said, is that what can we do now, going forward, so that we can evade this tax levy that's going to be levied on the city.
I think Councilwoman Farquharson explained it very, very detailed. The mayor with DPW need to put together a comprehensive plan and to make sure that that is submitted. That is it. They need to map it. That is the department of the DPW to make sure. And the mayor should know this. The mayor sat as chair before he became mayor for 4 years in my seat, chairing the same department. So he knows the policies and he knows the procedures. And I think Councilwoman Farquharson laid it out very clear. Well, it's the he said, she said is not what we want. We just want to get the job done. We're willing to work to get the job done. We have listened to the mayor over and over with certain things. We've supplied all the equipment and everything that the council can do. I think Councilwoman Farquharson explained that detail straight out as well. So there is nothing more we can do besides allow the mayor to do his job that needs to be done.
And I think it's outlined in the order from the DOJ. I think it's clear where the responsibility lies. So if you bother to read it, you will see where the responsibility lies and what the ask is of this city. They're asking us to complete the detailed plan. They're asking us to submit outstanding reports. They're asking us to identify where these illicit inflows and outflows are occurring in our system. That has to be done by DPW. This is not a function of our city council.
That's it. We're going to take one more question.
Let me just answer.
Hold on. Okay.
So, yeah, two more questions. Yeah. Okay. Just, this is not about a blame game. Make no mistake, this is not a blame game. The true definition of this is the division of labor, and the definition of roles. This is what this is about. The council passes legislation, the mayor executes. The executive branch presents the plan, they report the plan to the EPA. The city council does not. This is a division of labor and a responsibility of roles, not a blame game. We're here today to lay out what the council's role is and what the mayor's role is. The council is willing to do their job. We're asking the mayor to do his. 2 more questions.
Has the city been exposed to a timetable before you start getting inflicted heavy fines?
No, not at this moment. It's the relief. Relief has been requested. Ultimately, if the city is found guilty, Councilman Wallace wanted to comment on this more.
Actually, the DOJ has requested from last year that we give a timeline along with the plan. So if the timeline is going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even when we spoke about it, it could be up to 7 and 10 years. They just want a plan of how it's going to be addressed. They're not giving the time on where it can, on when it's completed. We're giving the time, which is DPW. So that's all they have to do. And what we have addressed in the meeting that we were last year, Council Griffin and myself, that we stretch it out longer to offset the cost on the taxpayers as well. Exactly. That's the whole thing. All right, so at this time, we're going to take the, anyone else? Okay, this will be the last question.
I got this.
And they say that they are the casualties of this war between these 2 bodies. Okay. When is this going to stop? And you guys are going to work for the benefit of the people who elect you.
Okay, I'm going to answer that real quick as the last question. The buck stops here. We've already outlined everything very clear. The DOJ's lawsuit outlines it very clear. This is not a war between the mayor and the council. This is not a fight at all. People are making it out to be that. Some people are blasting out fake news, okay, and putting that out into the public. That is not the issue, okay? It is that we have 2 different things, as our council has already stated, okay? The council has done its job. The executive branch have to do their job. It's about completing the plan and submitting the plan. That's all. So we thank you all for coming today. We appreciate it. Okay, and everyone, take care. Thank you. God bless.
Yeah, it's too much back and forth.
You're not listening to me now.
I'm hearing you, Marcus.
The council funded, we know that this is a problem.
Yeah.
We funded, normally what we do when we buy major equipment like this is
so hold on, let me
finish, let me answer you.
Okay, go ahead.
Normally what we do is when we buy major equipment like this, we spread it over 20 years, we bond for it. We don't have the access to bond right now, right? So what we did was, we know how serious this issue is. We took money from the appropriated budget. We took $500,000 out of the appropriated budget, and we funded the equipment that we needed, the staff that we needed, the money that we needed to get this job done. We did that last year. You saw the trucks. We bought a major camera truck so we can see the blockages in the line. We can follow where the problems are, right? We know this issue. We know that there are storm waters. When the rain comes down, storm water comes down. That goes into the Hutchinson River. When you flush your toilet, that should not go into the Hutchinson River.
Absolutely.
Grease should not go into the Hutchinson River. We have that problem. So we started to find those issues, and we found some problems. I'm saying to you, it is not about getting the work done because the council administered money to go there. The council did that. We appropriated money and legislation. But the mayor hasn't reported it to the people that want to know what we've done. That's the key. The mayor has not told them we bought trucks, we hired people, we appropriated money, we found this problem, we found that problem. I can walk to you on 3rd Street where there's a block, there's a different thing of cement right in front of Mrs. Jackson's restaurant, a big Farrell Avenue. There's a big cement block. Why that's there? Because we found the sewer water going into the storm water, going down the hill, flowing into the Hutch. We found it. We spent $100,000 to fix that. The mayor was a council person when we did that. We don't believe the EPA knows that that was done. So when the mayor walked into the EPA's office 2 years ago and said, oh, we're going to fix $20 million worth of problems in 1 year, we said, council said, Mr. Mayor, the city of Mt Vernon can't afford $20 million in 1 year. We don't have that amount of money. We have to spread this out over years. And why we know we can do that? Because New Rochelle has the same problem. Mamaroneck has the same problem.
Portchester had.
Portchester has the same problem. And well, right, because they're fixing it. And we need to do the same thing as well.
This is not just another day in Mount Vernon. This is today is a very important day where I had my first opportunity to sit down with the representative of the council, council president, and the controller to go over some very important information related to the filing from the Department of Justice last week. And, you know, look, this is not rocket science. We have a very important obligation ahead of us, which is to stop pollution from entering our waterways. This issue dates back to 2003, 2008, 2010, 2012, 2014, as well as 2016. There have been points in time where the EPA, along with the state DEC and the Department of Justice, have made it abundantly clear that we have to stop this. And, you know, all I can say is I believe in clean waterways. I believe Mount Vernon can really benefit by having clean waterways, but we're not going to get clean waterways through the constant tug of war and the finger pointing. All of that should have been left behind us many years ago, but obviously there's still this unfounded and unfortunate commitment to trying to cause political havoc as opposed to solving problems. We were at the table earlier today and we had a clear opportunity to expedite the funding of a role that is essential for our compliance with cleaning up our waterways and correcting years of neglect, years of mismanagement. Now, my role as mayor is to drive change. My role as mayor is to present solutions and to make sure that the plans that are developed make not only sense, but they make business sense for our taxpayers, so we avert the threat that has officially been lodged against us. Now, for more than 2 years, I've been very vocal about fixing our broken sewers. I've been very vocal about affordable solutions. We've gotten grants. We've gotten organizations, including Microsoft, IBM, major contractors, all talking and looking at these issues to find ways that we can fix the problem affordably. Now, a grant in the amount of $1.8 million is a significant amount of money. It's free money from New York State that we earned as a result of hard work from an outside engineer that helped write the grant. And there are other organizations out there that want to help us solve our problems, but for some reason, the council and the controller can't figure out we're at the problem-solving table, and the objective is to solve problems, not make more. Now, an opportunity was missed this morning, and I'm going to keep my door open, and I'm going to do my best to continue to facilitate a productive conversation about what we can do to solve the issues ahead of us. Right now, we're facing, from what we estimate at a minimum, a $153 million tax threat from the federal government. It could be more, depending upon how the violations are calculated. That should be enough to compel anyone to want to work together to say, you know what do we need to do to solve the problem? Finger pointing doesn't do anything but make someone's ego feel good. We're beyond that, and I've been recommending that we solve problems, and as we presented, we are missing some fundamental basic necessities to operate. The planning commissioner still hasn't been paid. A city engineer, which is essential, it's listed in our charter. I don't understand what's so complicated about funding the role, especially when we get approximately $1.6 million free dollars from the state of New York to help us solve the problem that we're facing. Now, again, I don't understand what is so difficult for my colleagues to grasp here. The lawsuit by the federal government makes it very clear that they are penalizing us for 2010, 2015 permits. They are penalizing us for 2014 administrative order. And yes, they mentioned the 2016 order, but there's been nothing but willful intent on our part to comply. So there's been budget requests. There have been, even as early as today, policy requests to move money from an account where there are savings into an account where it has been eliminated. A Bureau of Engineering has been eliminated by this council and controller. It's been eliminated the year before, and it's been eliminated before I even got into the building. So my point is, we have to make a decision to invest in solutions and stop with all this extra drama. And I've called on clergy, I've called on nonprofit groups, I'll continue to call on Mount Vernon to come join the conversation, because obviously there's a disconnect here, and I believe very deep in my heart that we must, as a city, look beyond the hate that you saw earlier today. Their hate against me should not be bigger than their love for Mount Vernon. And if they truly did not hate the city, then why would they still be arguing about a filing that's been over a decade in the making? I don't know what else we could have done besides get more free dollars, but it's hard to get free dollars when you don't have people working in the administration. It's like playing a baseball game with nobody on the field but the pitcher. Of course you're going to get base hits and you're going to get doubles and all the like, but if no one's behind home plate to catch a ball, or to catch a ball, you know, in center field, the balls get dropped. So we've acknowledged that we're without the positions. We will continue to do our best. I'm joined by my Commissioner of Public Works and Deputy Commissioner of Public Works, who can attest to the number of innovative ways we've attempted to address the issues. The communications between our government and the EPA and the Department of Justice have been consistent. They've been clear. We've held numerous conference calls with council members. We've attempted to try and bring people together over the past few years, but for some reason, all they want to do is fight. Now, look, I'm going to keep fighting for the people of Mount Vernon, and we will continue to do our best to bring this to a responsible resolution that we all can afford, but we cannot afford any penalty or any fine in excess of any number greater than 0. Right now, the numbers calculate very clearly. They're very high, and the time period is for when Ernie Davis was mayor. And that's a fact. There's no fiction here other than the false propaganda that people continue to try and fuel this, you know, unfortunate, misguided attempt to try and look good on the backs and expense of our taxpayers. So again, I invite everyone to read the filing. It's very clear. And when you look at our series of town hall forums, our weekly reports, our correspondence, our conference calls, all the outreach, we need everyone out there to join the conversation, because look, history shows that we've been here before. Not just Mount Vernon, but Yonkers was here when they had to do the desegregation case. We've been here before in Atlanta, where former Mayor Shirley Franklin, who advises me periodically on this, had to go to federal court to get her council to vote on building sewers in Atlanta. We know it's expensive, but the future deserves it. We don't deserve dirty water polluting our waterways, causing health issues in homeowners' homes and properties. And we certainly don't, you know, deserve to have a crushing penalty and fine that's completely avoidable, or was completely avoidable. So all I can say is we're going to continue to do our best to resolve this issue. We attempted to resolve it this morning at the Board of Estimate when I had my first chance to sit down with my colleagues who have ducked the issue, dodged it, and failed to continue to try and even make a tough decision other than get their rocks off trying to throw aspersions and accusations. We need answers. We need action. And I'm going to continue to do my best to move this city forward. And as I've warned, we will continue to do everything in our power to work with the Department of Justice. But right now, they made their case clear. It's in black and white, and we face some significant threats that we are going to fight back to try and see if we can get it reduced in court. But most importantly, we're going to try and see if we can get our community engaged and start asking more questions, and we'll give as many answers as we can give. So with that, I'll pause and I'll ask our Commissioner of Public Works, who was at a funeral, by the way, this morning. And I will just make sure everyone knows that we love what we do. We love our city, and we don't want to see our city harmed more than it already has been. But you should know that a lot of this work has been done without the right resources, and you can see plain and simple to my left, with the very clear information in our budget that's been unfunded. We've been making things happen despite such. So I will turn to Commissioner Nigro to provide a few remarks to affirm that there's been nothing but effort, but at the end of the day, it's unfortunately not enough for the Department of Justice, who made their position very clear. Commissioner Nigro.
We still morning? No, good afternoon. Just so you know, real quick, I'm not going to address some of the things that were mentioned this morning, that all the blame is being thrown on DPW for the last year. I can't speak for DPW prior to me being here a year ago, and I was brought in. I've worked 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, along with my deputy and my team. Did we get a couple of trucks last year? Yeah, we got 2 camera trucks last season. We did. With those camera trucks, we completed so many tasks in the last year that DOJ is actually reviewing what we have done. Maybe that they didn't hear of in a timely fashion, but what we did do. I had a request for 30 employees because the department in the last 10 years have gone from over 200 employees to about 115 employees. That's the opposite of what you should be doing in a city that's building, but okay, that's a problem before I got here. The Department of Justice meeting 2 weeks ago, I did not attend my father's funeral in Florida so I could be at that meeting to make sure that the city is starting to run right. Today, I left my first cousin's funeral because I got 45 emails and texts that craziness was breaking out in the city again, and the lies were being thrown. So let me just explain how we work. Everything I speak the truth. I'm not a politician. I've got nothing to lose. I don't care if I lose my job, because that's why I do my job. So I'm not in fear of that. The second you want to start throwing lies and saying that we're not doing our job as hard as our guys work, at the lack of manpower that we have in this city, and you want to start saying that you've given me everything and we've done nothing, you're fucking with the wrong guy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I tell the truth, that's the way it is. 24, 7 days a week. And if you think for a second this circuit's going to continue and you're going to start throwing me into the middle of this, and my department in the middle of this, because of political games and what you want to accomplish in the near future, or run, whoever's going to run against this man, just remember, these sewers have been backed up for 3 administrations. For 3. Along the Hutch River itself, there are manholes that are surcharging crap into the sewers. I mean, into the stream for the Hutchinson River. When I was brought there last year, they hid it behind bushes, the past administration. That we have pictures and we have documentation that you could read for the next month. So let's not play the BS game and throw me or my department into it, because I'm telling you, you're going to lose. I've got documentation. We've got people running last week over to the media about garbage men stealing garbage, and then 2 days later flip-flop and beg not to fire them because they're going to lose a vote or 2 down the fucking road. Let's stop the bullshit in this town. Stop. So I'm done. I'm trying to get the things accomplished here. And where you think you're going to chase me out of town because you're making him look good because we're getting things done, guess what? You're only pissing me off a little bit more, and I'm going to stick my nails and I'm going to dig harder now. So I apologize for the vulgarity here today, but I've missed 2 funerals now, including my father's, to try to make the city better with him. And they want to play games with him. He's the only one who's done anything the last 2 years. I don't know what they're thinking. Why don't you look at the numbers? Look at the numbers and see what we've done. It's amazing. Go out in the street. Forget all the haters out there. Go out and ask the people in the street. It's enough. It's enough. Don't forget, I know where a few of the bodies are buried. So next time you want to start coming to me and throwing my name in the middle of this, in my department, that we're not doing the work, guess what? That envelope's going to come out, pal. And I'm not a rat. But stop. I got a chairperson who's been in my office, you know how many times? DPW chair? 0. 0. Let the truth be told. I've asked for requests to come down and speak to us in DPW. 0. I got a nice office. I set up cappuccino machine and everything. 0 times have I seen my chairperson come down. But you want to start throwing me in the mix? You want to start pointing your finger at me? You got the wrong guy. I don't play politics. I'm here to do a job for the city. Or I would have left a long time ago. I didn't take half a salary to come here and put up with this nonsense. But you know why? I love Mount Vernon. And so does the mayor. And together, we're going to do our best. They're going to have to drag us out of here. Because when he goes, I go. Just remember that. So enough of this bullshit.
Now, you know, on Comedy Central, there was a show called Key and Peele. I'll stop there for those that get the reference. So, look, we're all passionate, and I'm bringing people that are truly energized, that want to fix the problem, that want to solve the problem to the table. We're getting people come into our offices talking about horror stories. And we had a town hall forum in this very space where we're standing right now with Miss McNeil going into Thanksgiving last year, and she said she couldn't even have Thanksgiving in her home because of the stuff, the raw sewage in her basement coming out of the sewer that it took months to pump out. So I just know that we're not going to stop fighting for the Miss McNeils out there. And we know that there are people scattered throughout the community that are dealing with this raw sewage issue. And we believe that we have a combination of affordable solutions. And we just hope that we still have time to negotiate with the Department of Justice and now the federal court to resolve this in a way that does not impact our property taxpayers. Pointing the finger gets us nowhere. But as you can see, we've recruited a team that's passionate about getting this done. So with that, you know, I'll pause there and just, you know, we'll take a few questions, and we'll keep you updated as frequently and as proactively as possible.
Mr. Mayor, earlier there was a press conference, and I asked the council in respect to the DPW making reports to the environmental protection about the equipment they have bought, and they were saying that you were supposed to make those reports. How do you address that, Mr. Mayor?
I say, look, you know, I've heard a lot from the council. I haven't seen a lot. And my ask is, if they have answers, if they have solutions to any of the problems that we're facing, if they want to come down and write any of these reports that they are claiming would have averted all of this, please, you know, come forward and let's roll up our sleeves and work. Taking a sentence out of complete context out of the filing is wrong. It's here in black and white, and they make it abundantly clear, they being Justice, that this is because of Ernie Davis, Maureen Walker, and obstruction in City Hall. We have done our best, we'll continue to do our best, and if Justice said they wanted a report or a filing, we will gladly provide such. But what we know is we have $1.6 million stranded because we can't hire a person that is mandated by our charter to hire. We have at least $110 million in our budget. I don't see why we can't find $122,000 to fund a role that's going to give us $1.6 million to work with to solve the problem at no expense. That's the real question the council needs to answer. Why is that so hard for us to do? It doesn't make any sense. It seems like a neglect or dereliction of duty.
Mayor, they'll do a press conference council-wide. They say one thing. You come to your press conference and you say something else. What about having a press conference where we both there and we can ask questions at the same time?
Look, I've offered to do even a public debate on this. We just debated it for 45 minutes in my conference room before this. We were at the table to solve the problem. We were at a Board of Investment meeting, and I can call another special meeting. Let's not even make it a debate. Let's get right to the table and make the decision. It's not that difficult to fund a position that's in our charter, and it doesn't take that much tax dollars to do it. We're talking about $100,000 that's going to give us back $1.6 million. It's less than 10% of the grant. We have an obligation under the grant to fund the role, and this role is essential to activate a capital plan. The role of city engineer is essential to coordinate many of these activities. Who do you expect is going to do the work? Santa Claus? He only comes around during Christmas time. It's not Christmas in July.
I just have a question. So, kind of addressed this before, but is in the lawsuit, is there the council saying that you failed to report the progress that they made or whatever, anything that they've done in the past 2 years? Did you know you guys reported? Can you explain why you maybe did? And I understand when we forward trying to fix it now. Can you give some type of response?
I'm going to read verbatim what the Department of Justice is referring to. They said for the 2010 and 2015 permits, in each violation of the EPA's 2014, before I was mayor, and 2016 administrative order, I embrace it on my desk. They can try and pass blame, that's fine, but the buck is right here, right now. It points to previous Mayor Clinton Young, it points to Ernie Davis, and it points to no action by them. And I can, we can go tit for tat all we want on what we did do. The commissioner made it clear that he made all sorts of efforts to comply with the orders. The previous commissioner, Ralph Uzi, he attempted to also comply. But when you look at the 3 court orders we had to get against the city council, from signing checks behind our back, from canceling payments to commissioners like right now, they're in violation of an existing court order. And it doesn't make any sense. But for some reason, even the local courts don't want to get involved in this. Unfortunately, our politics are in the sewer, and the good thing is we have a good sewer team that's going to clean it up. But we can't do it with a shovel and a spoon. We need real resources. There are steps we have to take. We need a city engineer. We need to go through the policy process. But if they're not going to do it, our taxpayers are facing a huge tax penalty. So the question is, what are they going to do to help us solve this problem and protect our taxpayers? And what you just saw was them pointing the finger, which gets us nowhere. That's Washington, D.C. gridlock. We don't need that right here. We need action. And I gave a clear solution. It's $122,000. We got a grant, free grant dollars that could solve the first part of our problem. So as far as I'm concerned, they really need to just stop with all of the bickering and the bantering and just come to the table and make the right decision to help Mount Vernon.
Mr. Mayor, City Commissioner Nigel, the council states that having charts out is not a plan. Do you submit plans to them on paper?
I'm going to take that and I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to read from the 2016 administrative order we received, and it says ordered provisions on page 6, and it lays out the plan. It gives you the steps we have to take. There's no other plan but to comply. That's it. And for us to comply, we made requests. We need a city engineer. We need equipment. We need people to do work. And it's their role to look at the plan and say, this makes sense, this will benefit the taxpayer, or you know what, it's too expensive and we're not doing it. They made the decision repeatedly, it's too expensive, we're not doing it. We brought them to the table to talk with the Justice Department last year. And Wallace was told, sir, you're in the hot seat by the Department of Justice. So look, bottom line is we have work to do, and they're not working, even when they're at the table.
Now, Mayor, on page 13, clause 44, Mount Vernon has developed effectively implemented strong efforts at addressing non-stormwater discharge. What is the legal or the business justification that they're giving you for non-compliance?
You know, it's really hard to tell it's really hard to tell what the council is up to. I mean, you heard the commissioner allude to the self-gain of at least one of the members of council. Look, if they want to run for mayor, if they want to fight Ernie Davis's fight, this is the wrong time to do it. We need to fix the broken system and move on. And the right thing, the responsible thing to do for our taxpayers is to have funded the plan beforehand. They should have did this under Ernie. I was advocating for it when I was on the council. But even now, becoming mayor, I've always made this a priority from the time I entered office to even right now. And as I sat next to Councilman Wallace literally lie and spin false propaganda, I said, look, all right, you got that out. Now what? The problem's still here. It's in black and white. We have something to fix. So what's your solution? It just can't be you this, you that. We're beyond that. And as far as I'm concerned, while he said he may be older than me, he's acting childish. So is the rest of the council.
Simply, my question is, what can we do as a city while we wait for action to be taken to show the Department of Justice that we're trying to comply with them and stop that $37,500 time that's going on for every day of our lives? What can we do as a city?
You know, I'm going to be holding a series of emergency meetings with stakeholders throughout our community over the next 7 to 10 days. I've asked our attorney to come and attend the council meeting this upcoming Monday and Wednesday to provide an update. And we've also reached out to the EPA and Department of Justice to come and attend those meetings to tell them again, look, we told you before, and we're telling you right now, this is where we stand. So we're making those outreach because, you know, the public needs to know that there's a meeting coming up, and we're inviting everybody that's interested in this to be a part of it. Now, I want to give you a calculation. I mean, any number over, you know, 100 million could represent an over 200% impact to property taxes. That is staggering, and it's astounding that none of the council members seem to figure out that we could have avoided this had we just set our differences aside, as I clearly have already, and said, look, give me the solution. You took your best shots. Okay, now what? We still have to fix it. So Mount Vernon, you got to rise up. You got to attend these meetings on Monday and next week, Wednesday, and take careful note of who decides to not show up. Because that goes to show you again, they're ducking the issues, they're dodging the tough decisions. They had ample time, ample opportunity with each budget to go ahead and make these decisions, and think about the budgets they voted for. Now I want to remind everybody, they voted to unfund the police commissioner. Where else has that happened, Ty Milburn? Nowhere, right? Nowhere. What other community on the planet says we don't want public safety? Well, the city council voted for that, and we still accomplished a result in the face of all that hate and adversity. We got crime to go down in the city because the community made a decision to build a relationship with the police department, and that's something we're going to continue to build on. The community is making a conscious decision to work with Public Works, and we need the community to come out on Monday and Wednesday and look out for our various invites to sit down and talk about this, because it's a real threat. So with that, I say thank you all for coming. And just know that we're gonna get through this, and very disappointed in the council at this point in time, but we're gonna do our best to convince them, and we're counting on the public to help convince them to make the right decision to help save our city. Thank you.